I'm concerned about
greenhouse gas emissions,
non-renewable resources,
energy,
food sustainability,
climate change, pollution, recycling,
population growth,
habitat destruction,
water scarcity, and water justice.
Well, I'm not really sure what sustainability is.
I don't really know what sustainability is.
Well, not knowing very much about sustainability.
I don't really know much about sustainability.
I don't really know what sustainability means.
yeah.
I'm not really sure. Can you define what it is?
I don't know what sustainability is.
That's okay.
No idea.
I would give it a B minus.
I would go with C, actually. But C, maybe C plus.
I'd probably give Stonehill a B minus.
Oh, around maybe like a D or a D plus.
I think I would give Stonehill a C.
I'd probably give it a C.
A C. D plus. A C minus.
I'd have to give it a B.
Probably a D.
Since I don't really know what they do, mostly what I see, I would say B.
Like B plus.
Like a C minus. Maybe a D plus.
I'd probably lean toward a C minus.
I think a B, probably.
I would give it a C.
Probably give it a C minus. I'll give it a B. C.
Yeah, I'll give it a high C, but I think it's improving.
I'd say right now we're at about a D plus.
Probably a C minus.
C plus at the most, maybe a B minus.
No D.
I think that we are like a D or D minus.
A C plus / B minus. Do they still give those grades out these days?
C minus.
C.
For effort, I'd give it an A because students are really aware of how we can make it more sustainable. But in practicality, I'd probably give it like a C, just because it's really hard to make those changes happen sometimes because students don't always have the support that's needed.
Main issue I see is the sprinklers. Like, they're idiotic with the use of the sprinklers. It sprinkles when it's raining.
I feel like we water the grass a lot.
We need to use less sprinklers because they go off when it's raining.
They leave like the sprinklers on sometimes when it's raining.
I feel like there's a lot of water waste.
We should be doing composting. I'm utilizing composting.
Like composting and just like the recycling.
Probably the more recycling.
They're not all the automatic light switches. They're not all automatic.
They don't have recycling bins for paper outside of Duncan.
We don't do the best that we can to recycle.
I think one big one is recycling. I see a ton of kids with plastic bottles and they just throw them in the trash. And I know we've been working on it, but I think the biggest thing is we need to hit the students and like make sure that they know it's easy.
I mean, usually the lights off near the football fields, maybe. I don't know. Those are always on all the time.
We have a lot of lights on campus that are on all the time.
They need to get their priorities straight.
I think in the last 5 years, we have grown in leaps and bounds on this campus as far as trying to be sustainable.
I mean, I think there are a lot of good things going on at Stonehill.
And I think some improvements have been made as far as the water bottles, and I know a lot of my professors have been moving to electronically based assignments and other handouts and stuff, so I think we're definitely moving in the right direction.
They're getting better. They're doing pretty good.
I don't think we're too bad. We do some composting. We have a composting bin outside the senior courts, and also they do pre-consumer composting in the commons, so it's not too bad.
Putting in the water jugs for tap water, to not use bottled water. So I think it's getting better, plus activism is like all over the place. And I do, compared to, because I'm a senior now, but compared to my freshman year, people use the reusable bottles, and I didn't really ever see them that often until really this year.
I think a lot of it has to do with the student body. They're pretty vocal about making it important to them, and I think the faculty really tries to back the students up in that.
I think we have a good movement going on right now because there's a lot more involvement from the students that I've seen here in the last couple of years, which we all think is fantastic.
We are starting to make some positive steps with the activism club doing the whole Think Outside the Bottle campaign.
I'm part of programming committee, and I know that we have like an eco committee that we really try to like send out listservs rather than printing out papers.
Subtle ways that people don't always know what's happening. I'm going to give you an example. Market Tracy, we just renovated this past year, and we moved a lot of the business people into that building. What we've done is we've taken, and instead of giving them their great big trash barrels that they had in their office before, we've given them little tiny trash barrels. Big recycling containers. So, you know, that's kind of a subtle hint. Recycle more, you know, use the trash less. And what we're finding now is, instead of, before we were emptying the trash barrels every day in the recycling containers, maybe twice a week, 3 times a week, it's reversed, which is fantastic. We're emptying the recycling containers every day and the trash barrels only a couple times a week.
There's been a lot of work in terms of transportation, the most recent addition of the zip car. I think about in the strategic plan, there's been a lot of ideas and questions and challenges that have been dealt with and talked about. I mean, we talked about earlier, there's some ability to recycle batteries and CFLs, but that isn't really publicized very well. There's also been some great work at the farm in terms of learning about ways to grow and harvest sustainable crops. I think also the Thinking Outside the Bottle campaign has been quite a success.
I mean, we talk about things like our mission statement, but we are trying to develop students who are going to be good citizens of the world, and the world, you know, if you know, we want to start there. So it's important for us to listen to students' concerns, to support their efforts.
And then energy use, I think, is something that Stonehill could do quite a bit more on in terms of certain types of monitoring of light switches and things of that nature, and installing more of those. I think Stonehill can do a lot when they're refurbishing new windows, new doors, new light switches and things of that nature, to take into account the long-run cost of using certain materials. I mean, my worry is always that they're going to say, well, we just need to replace this with a new vinyl window and be done with it. But I think there are ways to say, look, you know, we expect these buildings to be standing for the next 150 years. And if we're going to be using these buildings for the next 150 years, we need to take account of the long-run costs associated with the energy use of those buildings. I think that's an extremely important thing.
I think if I had to put my finger on one thing as far as being unsustainable, I think we as a campus need to do more educating.
I think solar panels would be a great idea in the long run. I think it'll be worth the cost. And from what we've been hearing, if they do implement the solar panels, it'll provide about 1/3 of the college's energy, which would be fantastic. So I think it's a good idea.
Sounds like it's something that they need to look into, because that could save money and the environment.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's a really expensive investment, but in the end it'll pay for itself.
Right now, we're in the process of entertaining quotes from 3 different large companies to put a solar farm out here, solar panels. You may have heard rumors. It's true, we're looking into it. And if what they're telling us, the amount of energy that could be produced from that amount of land, they could come close to producing almost 1/3 of the electricity that we use here on campus, which is outstanding. And it would be the largest solar farm in New England, if not further out.
So I think one of the greatest avenues would be for Stonehill to use physics instruction and biological instruction and chemical instruction in concert with solar power cells. So I actually think it would be great for Stonehill to say, okay, we want to find a way to power the Shield Center, Shield Science Center, using solar power. How do we go about doing this? And when we go about doing this, let's incorporate the physics department, let's incorporate physics students, let's talk about chemistry and chemistry students, and kind of use it as an instructional method at the same time. So I really think that would be an ideal way to kind of merge this kind of goal to reduce our CO2 emissions, goal to kind of find new and innovative ways to create electricity and make it instructional at the same time.
Well, the lights, obviously, the chargers. Only using appliances when you are using them to their fullest. So run your laundry with a full load, things like that. The other piece actually is every time you use something, so even if it's a material, energy went into making these glasses. So, in getting them to me. And so if I can, and I try, although I'm not that good at it, as you guys know, keep track of them, take care of them, so that I don't have to go out and get another pair. And not to go by the price. I mean, these cost me $3 at Ocean State Job Lot, but they represent a lot more than $3 of resources and energy and people's labor. So if I can take care of them and use them for as long as possible, I think that that's a key way to decrease our energy consumption, one that doesn't occur to us usually because we don't think of material as representing energy use, but it does, hugely. A lot of energy went into making these little suckers. So keep your things for a long time and take care of them, and you'll save a lot of energy that way. And money.
I mean, look, if you're worried about energy use, I mean, one of the first things you can do is you can eat less meat, right? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that there's so much energy wasted as you go up through the system. Now, and I'm not even, and the funny thing is, I'm not even saying, to eliminate meat. I'm simply saying, if you were tempted to have, red meat, it actually uses a lot less energy if you have chicken or poultry. And so that might be a quick way to do it, just say, look, I'm just not going to eat red meat. That actually would be a huge reduction in energy use and land use that's taken up by cattle for that reason. Another thing is, I think what would be really cool is if we had some kind of bike share system. Maybe, I don't know, just instead of using your car. I mean, I've seen students drive their car across campus, and yet if you had a bike nearby, you probably would do it. It might not always be used in the middle of January, in the middle of cold, but I think most of the rest of the semester, would be valuable. So there's two kind of quick ways, I think, that students could think about using less energy and reducing their impact on it.
There's nobody on this campus who thinks that the environment is evil and we should kill it. Everybody cares about it and wants future humans to live well and all of that. So it's just a matter of communicating with each other about what ways to do that here on our campus, and trying to listen to each other and be brave enough to speak even when what you say is something that they might not want to hear. That's hard. And I just encourage you to get better and better at it.